And that's why I don't smoke crack anymore. So, oh, we're back. What's up? It's Wednesday. So, welcome to Wired and Wednesday. We're here with a very special guest for multiple reasons. Because I feel like I have so many questions for you. But this is Paris Alexa. You may know her just from being a fucking amazing artist, but she also sang on my last record and has tons of music out on her own, and is definitely somebody that you should follow if you have the internet. I assume that you do, since you're fucking here. So go ahead and use those internet powers and follow Paris Alexa. We're gonna go ahead and drop a fucking thing in there. There it is. There's all the things. There's all the places you can find her.
Look at this technology.
Oh yeah, this shit is set up. We got it already. It's already done.
Crazy.
Also, before we jump into this, I forget every time, so not this time. We are giving away a pair of Astro A10 headphones to a lucky subscriber. So if you would like to win those, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and then hit this fucking command, which is bam, raffle. And look, I got a ticket. I've just entered myself in the raffle. If I win, fuck y'all, those are mine. All right. That's the way a raffle works. All right. Shit.
Hey, should I enter?
Huh?
Should I enter? I mean, I got ears.
You know what? If I win, I'll send them to you. How about that?
That will work.
All right. The pressure is
Yes.
on. So how the hell are you, P?
I'm good. I am in a transitional period. I feel like pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
But considering when crazy things like this, what we're dealing with, this pandemic, this literally, you can just single out anything that's happened within the last, 2020 was a shit show.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that it just forces you to think about what you do have and just to get more grateful about all right, well, I don't know. I always just go back to it could be worse and how can I help? So I feel like I've been trying to be less sad about what's going on around me and thinking about how I can positively contribute to what's going on around me. There's a lot of shit going on and a lot of people need help and love. So
Yeah.
I feel like I'm refocusing, from being sad and oh, I'm touring and, and being all right, well, what else can I do? And cool shit like this, we're still able to connect,
Yeah.
that matters. So I'm excited.
It's hard to focus that energy, having the year that we just had. I think it's commendable that people, whenever you decide to come around to that idea, to want to contribute some happiness to all this, because, if you've been watching the internet for the past year, it's just been chaos. It's been chaos in our government, it's been chaos in our society, and it's been chaos on the internet because people are just looking for chaos. And they're contributing to and they're soaking up chaos, and then they're regurgitating chaos, and it's just been a year of complete and utter chaos. And it is and can feel like pissing in the wind when you throw a little sugar in there, because it's drowned the fuck out by everything else that's going on. And I totally agree with you. This show and the ones that we do on Monday was a pivot. We're coming up on March 6th, which was the first day of the tour that I was on last year. And we only made it to March 14th, where the tour got shut down. CDC closed everything, and we got sent home. And we were, 6-7 days into or 8 days into a 2-month-long tour. We had a fucking bus. It was sponsored. The whole bus was wrapped with our name, and we had a fucking thing full of headphones that we were giving away. And it was this huge organized thing that just got torn to the ground. And coming home, I wanted to be negative, and I was negative for a while, and I gave in to the doom scrolling, and all of a sudden, worse things, way worse things than what was happening to me, started happening universally across this country. And that was my pivot. That was where I was like, you've had your moment. You get to, you get to stop complaining now.
Yeah, literally that I think that happened for a lot of people. And like, no, that's totally right. Like, I think for a while I was kind of upset at myself for even getting mad because of the fact that we have all this free time. It's like, we kind of put unnecessary pressures on yourself, especially as a creative. Like, oh my God, I have hella time. Like, I should have 50 albums.
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not lit. I'm not cool. I should be, doing all this stuff that I say, like, oh, if only I had the time. Like, now all I have is time. And it's kind of like one of those, like, challenging yourself in the mirror. Like, well, what the fuck are you going to do? Like, you're mad, but you're not even utilizing the time that you've been given. So it's kind of a rock and a hard place situation for everyone to be at, but specifically like creatives, when it's like we're used to structuring our free time anyway, and now that we don't really know what we're structuring it for, or there's just so much open space, and it's kind of like but I'm glad, like you said, that you allowed yourself to even be mad, because I think we have to do that too. Like, we have to be mad about it. We can do nothing about what's going on right now, so it's like, I don't know, that's part of the process too. Like, write an angry song. I wrote a couple of those. Like, I wrote a couple of Fall in Love with Me Before the End of the World, Stupid Boy songs.
And have you been productive? Because I've brought this up in other streams. I tried to do a creative stream where I just like made music, and then I would have people contribute to it, and it got crazy, so we stopped doing that shit. Yeah. But have you been productive? Because I haven't. I mean, I have in different ways, which I think is cool and new for me. But like, I haven't written a song like lyrically since I've been home. But I have produced like a whole entire lo-fi record. So it's like,
see, and that is okay. Interesting question. I guess first I'll answer it, and then I'll address what you just said. So I have and haven't. I think when the pandemic first started, like, I wrote this amazing song about how like the world was stopping and like everything's changing, and I just need to like, rely on love and God and pray and all this stuff. And then like after that, nothing. And I was like,
yeah, because you only get to write that song once,
Yes, yeah. And even in the song, I think I've added a timestamp to it about like, they say this gonna last a couple weeks, like.
Yeah, here's a year to 6 weeks to flatten the curve.
The song's outdated at this point, so it's like, okay, I had to just stop being mad again at myself and being like, okay, well, nothing creative is forced. So I think like you, I started just venturing into other creative avenues that I might normally not like spend the time to do, but because I have time, like I started painting a lot, and like I really love it. And yeah, I'm really excited about it, and like just finding other ways to be creative and like really looking at life as art instead of it being like the job that we've just been set into, and like, this is how I'm gonna get money and this is how I do, because this structure that we've had, again, is like this coronavirus lifestyle, unfortunately, does not. We have to make changes. Like, we gotta get creative, and and it's cool as long as you delight in the creativity. Like, I want to hear your album. Yeah. Let me hear the lo-fi shit.
Well, I'm gonna release it, because I decided, I've spent so much of my career sitting on things that weren't like the direct avenue or lane that a lot of people expect me to stay in. So I figured there's no better time than right now to just hit them with some weird shit. It's not even that weird, to be honest. It's like pretty chill, but it's like, I can imagine, I picture somebody picking up the record and just being like, oh, nice, new Graves record, and just like waiting for me to rap for like an hour and not getting it and being like, what the fuck is this? Did I like buy a wrong one or some shit? But that's what it's gonna be.
No, I think that and at the same, like the dope thing about you specifically is that like your fan base, and I guess for me, I mean, we've known each other for a while, but you were like one of the first like artists that really took me under their wing and just showed me like what was going on, like touring and connecting with fans, and just the way you did it, I think was so unique for me to see. And I think that people really appreciate you as a person. Like they really are invested, which is really different than how some artists are, where it's really just about like money, sales, and not the connection.
Yeah.
And when you have that connection, I think that it just allows people to see like, oh, this is like I love this artist, but this is also a person. Like this is a person who I'm like, kind of invested in their life, and I feel like I contribute to their livelihood. And so you changing, I think that people will be able to appreciate you for that change, and then also like will change with you. Like
Yeah.
their music might start. Watch all your fans start listening to lo-fi. You know what I mean?
Cool.
Like that. That
I
would be so cool.
see. I'm older now, and it's like I look at the idea that I can't make the same song over and over as much as people would like me to, and I've struggled with the almost identity crisis of Greaves, as one would put it, and it being kind of the idea of, I like you when you're sad, or I like your melodramatic sad, like that's what I got into this for, and I think it's okay for me to grow, and maybe for someone else not to grow, and we can move past that relationship, and the music that I had in the past will always remain, and you can access those sad songs, and for what I lose, I think I make up with what I gain when I pivot. And the record that you were on was a slight pivot for me because there's songs like the first song that you did, I can't even remember the name of the damn song.
No Sleep.
So that
No
one, very quintessential me. Very like it's my key, it's my tone, it's my tempo. It's very like okay, it's the Greaves. And then there was Bonnie and Clyde that you did some backup stuff on, and that's like, who the fuck is this guy? And so those are like very like opposite universes for some of my fans, but also putting that record out was kind of the dinner bell to say that hey, more of this is gonna happen, and since then I don't think I haven't put a single out that fit into the older me. I've always wanted it to be different moving forward. I'm also old, so I'm having trouble with the idea of singles, and these like single releases that you can then compile at the end of the year and throw some glitter on it and make it something else. And I'm trying to make my way on that path and figure that world out, because I do believe that is kind of the future of the industry, regardless of how I feel or not. So
I mean, there's no rule book to being a creative. That's the truth, and I think that we're seeing that now more than ever. I mean, for me, I'm like 22 and I feel so old. I refuse to get on TikTok. I refuse. So I'm like, what is going on? Like I'm already an old 22-year-old. People knew like I've always just had like an old soul, but really there's just some things where I'm like, dang, I just wish I just missed the value in valuing like effort, valuing like someone's creative direction, and so I feel you with the struggle to like let certain things go and transition into like this change. It's dope to see, like I said, like you were saying, like it's dope to see the positives that we can make out of it.
yeah.
It's just, I don't know, like.
Do you think?
Yeah, like what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, do you think you being so young, has allowed you to kind of navigate in that world. Like, even if you don't get on TikTok, and I'm a grown ass fucking man, I got no place on TikTok. Like, I feel guilty being on TikTok, like I'm like a creeper or something on there, because it's just a bunch of kids doing weird shit that makes me uncomfortable, so I don't want to look at it. So I don't really fuck with it. But like, you're able to, I would say, you know, you grew up with different marketing, and you know, you grew up with a different approach to the music industry because you had the internet so prevalent in your life, and music was marketed and sold on the internet for probably your whole career, right?
I mean, yeah, even my like generation was just a weird time because like, I mean, I remember like LimeWire. I have CDs like that I remember buying.
Yeah.
Like I had a Walkman, you know, I remember these things because they were part of my childhood. But I feel like one thing that's interesting in my specific generation is we've always had a transition. It's never been like for more than, I don't know, 2 years, something consistent. It's always been like the iPod and then the iPhone, and then everybody has an iPhone, okay? And then, you know, whatever's next. And then, so I guess that I should be accustomed to this, like, you know, changing constantly, but I don't know. I'm kind of fine with like catering to people that are around my age that are not on TikTok. You know, like I kind of feel like it's okay if that's my brand. If I get a couple TikTokers, that's okay. But I'm not like I'm not gonna change my whole brand and everything to be like, hey millennials, like watch me. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna do my little dance for fun, but like as promo, it's tough for me because it just feels a little gimmicky and my whole thing is authenticity. I know you can relate to that. I think like just being authentic, and so whatever means I can do that, I'm gonna try. But if I find like there's another new app that I have actually found that I kind of like is Clubhouse. Clubhouse is actually pretty cool.
I got it. I haven't really fucked with it.
It's cool in a way. I mean, everybody got an opinion. So when you give everybody a mic, everyone's going to say their opinion. And
interesting.
That's definitely interesting. But it's fun. I think it's fun, and there's a lot of benefit to it. But that's what I mean. Like, you got to find whatever means you can connect them best on. And for me, TikTok is not it. So I don't feel like we're not waiting for that. Like,
yeah, I think it's a weird way to. I think it's a weird thing to hope for too. You know, like a lot of artists are hoping that they go viral. I've had this conversation with artists where they're like, "Look, it's an untapped resource for, you know." This is them trying to convince me to get on TikTok, and it's like, look, it's an untapped resource for your lane, right? Like, if you tap into TikTokers, they're gonna have no fucking idea who the hell you are, and if you're able to get them to listen to your music, doesn't that matter? And I was like, not really. Not if I got to do some TikTok shit to get them to listen to my music, because then they're gonna listen to my music and be like, what the fuck is this? Like, or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I could just be on TikTok talking shit, and maybe that would work. Because I went on tour with T-Pain in 2014 or 13 or something like that, and it was an arena tour. It was T-Pain, the Gym Class Heroes, and me. And
right.
And that's a weird place to be for hippity hoppity, you know, me in my like earlier career. It was 2013 because it was before my second record came out, and I was like, fuck, I'll do it. You know, like I got no shame. I just got off Warped Tour. I didn't really belong there either, so let's get it. And so I went on tour with T-Pain, and you know, it was just a bunch of 10-year-old kids from the middle of nowhere, Midwest, just fucking booing me when I would like get on stage. And I was like, damn. And you know, they were like flipping me off and throwing their fucking, you know, Pikachu shit at me or whatever. But that lasted about 2 days before I came out with a bar stool and a bottle of Evan Williams and slammed that fucker down and was like, all right, and treated him like a disgruntled stepdad would. And they loved it. and they fucking loved it.
Wow.
And I was pulling in like, you know, $2K a night at the merch table, and you know, kids were like running up to me being like, oh my god, I get to take a picture with Graves, I didn't get the VIP pass. And I was like, wow, this is super weird. You just gotta disrespect these little children and they love you. So maybe I should just start a TikTok. I'm gonna call myself Lil Stepdad on TikTok. And
Lil Stepdad would go so crazy. Are you kidding? They love that shit.
Anybody who wants that heat, come get it. Lil Stepdad's TikTok.
Lil Stepdad. And it's got to be Lil because everything is just associated with infantry. And I don't understand why everybody's so many babies and Lils and all types of. I'm just going to be like small infant baby. That's what I'm going to call myself.
Be Toddler Todd.
You don't even have to have any music though. That's the thing. You're gonna go viral anyway. Like
just the name, Lil Stepdad.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, it should just be a whole like 4 minutes of you just reprimanding.
I could do that. I've been practicing my whole life. I got an actual child now, so when that actually comes around,
you're leveling up.
I'm ready. Speaking of dads, you have an amazing dad. You have the most supportive, badass, pretty fucking good dancer dad.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask because you know, the first time you came through the studio, he was there with you. You know, he came through, and it definitely, you know, he was making sure that his baby girl was good. And do you think you'd still be doing this without just that amazing support? You know, you did that Nectar live show, the live stream show. There's no crowd allowed, but you were allowed to bring your dad, and they would cut to him occasionally, and he was just,
yeah, this man is
the best.
Yes. Oh my God. No, definitely not. Like both of my parents have been so supportive my whole career. And like I think that specifically one thing that they instilled in me was like the perseverance. Cause when I was young, I was just so angsty. I just wanted to prove somebody wrong. All my songs were about like, and that's why I'm gonna go on my own path or something. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So stick it to the man, and my attitude was just like that. And like I remember one thing I was trying to audition for this national competition for people under 21, and it was called Young Arts, and it's like a really big deal. And my mom, I think I was like sick, and I was just already recording, and I was like, I do not want to do this anymore. Like, I'm done, Mom. I'm not going to even get in. I'm not going to go. Like, I hate traveling. Like, da-da-da. And she was just like, just do it. Just do it. Just, you're going to be happy you got it done. And I was like, I was just so like, oh my gosh, like, Mom. And just to think that I was like that about some things that other kids would be about chores, when it's like my parents really were pushing me because they saw like, you know, you have a dream, so don't give up on it. And being an adult now, it's just like some people do not get to live their dream out, or didn't get that push early on to feel like it could even be attainable. And so they were kind of relentless with me. Like even some of my later songs, like my song Water Me is like one of my best songs, and people have told me like, you know, I almost killed myself, but I didn't because of this song. And like so many times I'm like, wow, what if I didn't put that out? And they were the ones that pushed me. And like,
now you're making music. When you start getting those messages, now you know you're making fucking music.
That's when it matters, literally. And I think that I wouldn't be at this point where now I'm able to push myself past, you know, these barriers, or like my laziness or my doubt, you know, because I'm like, it was instilled in me early, like, just keep going, keep pushing. Like, even if it's bad, you've completed it. Like, you know what I mean? You did it so you can change it back later, but you finished it. And just, I don't know, just following through is the thing that they definitely, that's just like such an invaluable lesson. Like, yeah, really.
Are they musical? Or did they just see what you wanted and encourage you? Because I'm taking dad notes right now, all right? Because that is, you know, I think my baby's only 6 months old, so it's like impossible to think what he would be, or what I want him to. I want him to be what he wants to be. But
Right.
I think a lot of people say that, and then a child gets older, and it's like, well, college, or what really worked for me and your mother was this, or da 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 da, finances,
Right.
this and that, and to see them always standing in your corner, especially at an age where I feel like most parents would try to steer you in a different direction. Were they musical, or did they just straight up fucking love you that much? I mean, that's so cool to see.
I mean, it is really dope. And again, it's super interesting to just like revisit all of these things that's like, oh, this has just been my life. But as an adult, like just and not living with them, also taking a step back and being like, these are really two people who like really love their kid. Honestly, like that really is what it is. And both of them kind of came from not so great situations and just decided like this is the life that we want for ourselves. Like and they just like are super focused on that. And like of course we have our ups and downs like a lot, and yeah, we've gone through some stuff,
As you
but
should. It's only natural.
only natural. But I think the other thing is that they know that I mean, I'm kind of going to do whatever I want to. And so but I'm also super like appreciative of any like wisdom or any words that they give me or any like guidance. And so they know that like the best way to encourage me or steer me into a direction is honestly like to support me and like just keeping that channel communication open, because now when I feel like I'm making a mistake or I feel like, like right now I'm moving and I'm traveling often and like they're so much less involved than they were when I was younger.
Yeah.
And when I'm making a mistake or something, or if I'm just more likely to tell them or ask them about it and be open instead of being like, oh my God, my parents, I can't tell them that I just, moved in with like, I can't tell them any of these bad things that are going on in my life because they'll seem dumb. But it's like now, okay, well, hey mom, I kind of did something dumb. Like, what do you think about this? And and she'll be like, okay, well, next time, just that approach, I think has really just helped keep the flow of communication open. And my mom has this metaphor that she always says where she's like, I just keep picturing this imaginary Thanksgiving. And that's her thing where she's like, whatever happens now, like in these adolescent years, I just want you to one day have your own family and for us to all be at Thanksgiving. And so she's like, whatever I have, every time an issue arises, if I'm going to put you in a situation where you don't want to come to Thanksgiving or your kids are not going to be there, then I'm not going to do that. So she keeps that in her frame of mind. That's what she tells me. So
Damn, mom's focused on the future. She's holding family together that doesn't even exist yet.
Right.
She's like, I'm holding this future family down right now. That is really interesting. And I guess looking at that perspective, like, I think that is a big part of parenting. I think thinking about the decisions that you make now and how they affect things later. I didn't have that relationship with my parents, like I came from a pretty fucked up family and, shit just went wrong. And it wasn't because of my parents. They just didn't know what to do when shit went wrong.
Yeah.
And, so there is a fracture there, and it's like broken, and it's taken, my whole life to like get to a point where I feel like close enough to like reach out. But,
Yeah.
And I know that I don't want that, for my kid. I also know that sometimes a lot of this stuff is out of your control, but your mind state's not, right? I mean, generally speaking, like we can control kind of the speed or the amount of gas we're giving it up here, and to kind of dial it back and maybe give it some extra gas in other times. And she's right. I like that. I think it's really good, and I think I know you on a different level because I met you when you were so young. And so I did get to experience that part of your life. And I think if I was just meeting you now, I wouldn't have, this in my conversation today. Maybe I would. Who knows? Maybe Pops is still rolling up like that.
they're still, that's the thing, they're very present. And I have come to terms of like, they're not going to be like, they still feel a type of way about me smoking. Like they still feel, my dad specifically, like they still will comment on, like I've lived with different boyfriends and like roommates, and I have, what I mean, been outside of their house, and they're always going to have an opinion. They're always going to be involved and say something, and you know what I mean? They're parents. And so I think that you're right. You can't control so much, but I think that what they taught me, especially from like them both, like I said, they both came from like fucked up situations, and them like deciding that your kid could either grow up in survival mode or your kid could grow up around love. And I feel like being used to some of those things, or like not love, but like maybe safety,
Yeah.
because some people feel, you know what I mean, like you feel like you gotta protect yourself or you feel protected. And I think that that's one of the things that can make all the difference. Like everything else, you really, like you said, you really cannot control. The kids are gonna be who they're gonna be. They're their own people, and they're gonna have personalities and all types of things you might not like and things you will like. But definitely their environment, like that's something that, I mean, that's what being a parent is. It's literally like, so I mean, I know, like you said, you've known me for a while, but I remember before, you had your child, and like the conversations talking about like what that would be like, and like, then you actually finding out, and like, just like, I don't know, it's cool to see my friends and people I know for real, like change and grow, and like I don't know. I always was like, you're gonna be a lit ass dad. Like
I'm
he is
ready.
gonna be very honored. Like, yeah. I
I'm
mean,
ready.
not everybody's cool like you. So
Who knows? Maybe I turn into just a wretched son of a bitch later. But like,
no.
I don't know. It's. I often. I often think about when I first met people, and how they were at that moment, and how that was a part of who they were, and then thinking about where they're at. So this is several years later now at this point, and I think that having that stability and having like, just if your dad would have showed up and your dad was like super scary, I would have been like, oh shit, maybe she's gonna have a hard time because he's gonna be like hovering over her the whole time, and like making people afraid to give offers because they're like, yeah, but then her fucking super sketchy dad's there the whole time. And it's like, then your talent has to outweigh that shadow almost, and that can be really hard sometimes. But instead, this girl showed up with just immense talent and just this bright shining character with her that was like fueling that talent. And that's important for people listening, or anybody listens to this in the future, to know that you don't have to have somebody to be that for you necessarily. I think that you can be that person for yourself, but a lot of people try to be their own looming shadow when they show up to shit like that. They try to act like they know more than they do. They try to be tougher than they are, or they just try to seem different comparative to who they're meeting with.
Right.
And that was not our interaction. And to me, that shows purity, and that shows, I can't be anything but myself,
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and your talent was and is like so crazy. And even when you left the studio that first time, I was like, I feel like in like 6 years, people are going to be like, how the fuck did you get Paris on a song? And I'll be like, I don't know. She showed up with her dad. It was crazy. She was like 6 years old. It was wild, but like,
that's actually accurate. Like, I mean, you were the first, like, and I mean, for what that did for me was just like such a huge validation. Like, I mean, I think I was definitely still in high school, and like
yeah,
it was just like, okay, like And for my parents too, like for my parents to feel like, okay, we're making these avenues, like we're paving, like, we're encouraging her, but that I was getting opportunities on my own, and that was like an opportunity that stemmed from Romero and like me meeting him at More Music at the More. And like, I signed up for that because my dad pushed me to do that. But all of that subsequently like led to me meeting you and us doing that. Like, that was my first, maybe some of my first times in the studio, period. And so just being validated and feeling
Well,
like,
you could have fucking fooled me. Jesus Christ.
well, like, I was just so excited to be there. And at that time, I did not care about anything related to school. I was just like, this is what I want to do. Like, after, I remember leaving there, like, I want to just go right back in the booth. Like, and so I'm super appreciative of like those early times. And just like, I don't know, you also, people were weird when I first started and I was young, like, because not even though I could sing and I was excited and I wanted to show people my voice, a lot of people underestimated me, like for various reasons. For me, me being black, me being a girl, me being a black girl, and being also having like a bubbly personality and just a lot of things. And I don't feel like walking into the room and feeling like, oh, we got this girl who wants to be on your album. As an established artist, you didn't have to like welcome me the way that you did. And so I'm really, really grateful that you treated me like a professional. So I was able to like rise to that occasion and be like, okay, this is actually like, I am a businesswoman. And
Yeah.
like, it was really a dope experience for me. So I'm like super grateful.
Well,
still.
Ro showed me some of the stuff that you had done on his record, and then I had dove into your music and watched some videos and stuff like that, and I immediately saw it. And that's kind of hard sometimes with people, but I knew immediately. And I remember talking about, like, I didn't really know what I wanted for that chorus. I knew what I wanted it to say, but then I had this like idea of this old hieroglyphic song that I felt like was really like in the lane of that one. And we got there, we said hello, we made our introductions to each other. Your pops was there, we shot the shit for a little bit, we kind of like tested around the comfort zone. You went straight in to the recording room, and you just had it. And it was a little bit of talking through the talk back, but being able to take guidance as an artist is super important, because we can't always get there by ourselves. That's why we work with producers, and in some cases that's why we work with songwriters, but we can't always get there ourselves. No matter how talented we are or how many times we've done this, sometimes we can't get there ourselves. And having you there was an example of that very same thing. I couldn't get there myself, and then hearing you sing allowed me to have these new ideas and craft this chorus like there. It was like sculpting almost. And you could have fucking fooled me. Like, that is new news to me that was like one of your first times in the studio. It definitely wasn't one of your first times recording, because you knew where to go. You knew you were hearing the next step, and you kept doing it and doing it. You had proper etiquette on the mic. Like, everything was, I thought I was dealing with just this pro-ass kid.
That's so like, I was so just excited to even be there. And like, I was literally I think I was so nervous that I like didn't tell you any of that stuff. I was just like, okay, I didn't want to blow it. I was like, I don't know if he'll really take it for the album, or like,
it was great.
And so I mean, it still continues to be some of my favorite feature work that I've done, for sure. Or like, every single one of those songs was like dope, and the fact that we did multiple, like, it was just really encouraging for me. And I was ready. That's the thing. I did know what I was talking about. Like, I did know where certain things were, and all I needed was the opportunity. All I needed was someone to take me seriously. So early on, things like that, like, are game changers. And I totally feel like this was one of the quintessential moments of my career, for sure.
Well, I've been so blessed to like watch that blossom into quite a thing. And I still think it's in like its budding phases.
I mean, we were just talking about the pandemic, and like, ironically, and I still cannot believe it, but I got signed in October, which like I don't think would have happened without the pandemic. So I'm like,
really?
Yeah, which I literally, like I said, I can't believe that.
And you think it's credited towards the pandemic or because you're a stone cold badass?
Well, I mean, I'd been, juggling the idea for a couple years, but the right deal just didn't come along to me, and I wasn't really like super interested in becoming like a superstar. And
How old
I went
are you?
on. I'm 22.
So you're 22 and you just said that you've been fielding deals and the right one hasn't come along yet. Do you understand that a 22-year-old singer or artist would jump, and I'm speaking from fucking experience here, would jump on the first fucking contract that flies across their table just because it would signify the idea of them achieving what they've been working for, and not only achieving it, but achieving it so early. And the bar for the respect I have for you, once again, just
Thank you.
like
I
you got good management or you just got a good head on your shoulders or both, but regardless, I hope people were listening when that came out is the right deal.
Don't take the first deal that's offered to you. Word of advice, do not. Don't do it. I mean, I would have to credit that to like, again, like songwriting camps and stuff that my mom like put me in early on, where they were like, hey, this isn't just a hobby. This is actually a career. This is how you can do it, and this is how you don't get fucked over.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as a like loving songwriting so much, it was like I can just write for other artists. I don't really need to be like a superstar. I'm not trying to be like, you know what I mean? For a long time, I was like that, and so I went on tour early in 2020, crazy, right before pandemic, same time as you. And I was just about to do East Coast, and I basically, I guess I just was dope on tour. And so the tour manager told one of his buddies who's an A&R who just had like, that just became the head of a new label, and like reached out to me. We had a meeting. The meeting went better than any label meeting I've ever had. And then it was just done. Like, and I've never even, it was just weird on a personal note because like I said, I never really pictured myself as like the star. Like, people know me and I do what I do, but I was just like, I'm not like gonna bust a move in a music video and do looks and all types of, and now I'm kind of forced to like value myself like that and be like, okay, well, now that people are listening, what do I have to say? Like, what's different about what I have to say than the songs I've been writing for who so-and-so and who, you know what I mean? Like really just honoring my own voice. And that's been like super weird.
You know what? It's no different than what you've been doing. It's a new outlet. It's the same work. It's going to be a little harder work, and that's good. I mean, you're getting older. You're growing up. This is what you want to do. Let's go full time. Let's make this our job. Let's do this full time. A lot of people, I believe, think that deal, putting your name on that paper, almost ends that hustle, ends that grind. I think it merely begins it. I think it is the beginning of your hard work when you put your name on that contract, because so much more is at stake now. And that's the risk we take. I have all the faith in you. Who were you were touring with? Xavier Omar, I saw. Was that in 2022?
Xavier Omar.
I love that dude.
Yeah, that was in February. We did the whole West Coast, and that's who I like. That's how this whole thing happened. So I'm just like, just the weirdest, just transition of events. But I'm like, you know what? At this point, I just have to trust. Like, this is what I'm supposed to do. I keep finding myself in the right places on accident. That's a sign. That's like, I'm gonna trust it. And
you can be inspired by your blessings.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and it can be a reason to turn a positive leaf, especially with everything that's going on right now. Like, you inked a deal in the middle of a pandemic. I don't think it's because, you know, the world was shut down, and, you know, I think you're so talented that you were able to ink a deal during a fucking pandemic, is the way that I would look at it. When the whole entire music industry was shut down, you were able to fuck around and get a contract. And I think, and a contract that suits you and makes you happy, opposed to some other shit. Because there's a lot of predatory behavior going on because the music business is shut down. But you getting the contract that you want during a pandemic, it's hard to get the contract you want on a good year. So
yeah, yes, it is. Like, and I think the other thing is, like, people are just like, you just gotta be smart. Like, you really just gotta be smart. And like, I'm so glad that some of the stuff in the music industry is like bursting open at the seams. People are really talking more about contracts, talking about bad contracts, and like some OGs talking about, oh, I got cents off this tour, and da da da. And like, just reading about like people you really love, people you're inspired by, and seeing like, wow, you give so much to the art, but these other people who basically man the other half of this business are not artists. They're not creatives. They're all based on literally funds, and financial gain. So how am I able to advocate for myself in a place where these people are way more literate about the business than I am as a creative? Like, now we're wearing so many hats. We have to be our, you know, part-time managers, our own part-time managers. We have to like be our brand reps. We have to be our marketing people and come up with ideas. And there's so much that we're having to do, whether you're independent or not. Both is a lot of legwork. And I think that for me, it was just a priority to just like, I want to be able to do this for the rest of my life and not hate it. And so I really think that, like, even if I'm not getting some like, I don't know, a lot of people just feel like, oh, if I'm not getting $1 million contract, like, it's not a real contract, or it's not enough. Like, I didn't really make, and it's like, you should ask for well below what you think you're gonna do. That way you can just, you know what I mean? That way you can exceed, you know, like, just set yourself up to win in a way that these companies unfortunately are not going to do for you. Like,
you're gonna recoup $1 million off of digital streams? Shit.
How?
Yeah, exactly.
I really want people on Instagram and flashing, flexing, and grills and jewelry. I'm like,
yeah,
give it here, you know, like
real estate, P. Real estate.
Real estate.
When Mark Twain say buy land, they're not making any more of it.
Yes, yeah, that's actually a good quote. Like, seriously though, like, actual investments, and yeah, that shit matters. Like, that shit matters a lot.
I want to see more of that in the music industry. I want to see more sound financial advice in the music industry. And I don't come from a ball the fuck out, like, I don't know. Nobody I know does that. But also nobody I know invested in themselves, and nobody I know really came out the other end of this really well, other than like Macklemore. But of course he's doing fine because he's making more money sitting on his ass than I'm going to for the rest of my life. And that's just because of his situation, and we can't wait for that situation. But if I would have been given better advice on what to do with my money earlier on, I would not be living in Tacoma right now. I would be doing so much better. Not that I'm hurting. I just started taking care of myself in that regard a lot later in life, because I was focusing so much on the now. And I want to see so much more. Like, I want to see young cats being inspired by that and not taking those $1 million deals, taking their advance money, putting a down payment on a house or something with that, and then recording and mixing and mastering the record themselves or whatever the fuck they need to do.
And they're doing things that,
like, skip the advance, make $1 off that record, minus some processing fees and all that shit. But if you don't recoup, you get shelved. If you get shelved, you can't make more music. I mean, you can, but you're going to have to go through hell to get out of your fucking contract. And maybe some of the best work of your life is just going to stay on that shelf. And that sucks.
And that sucks because literally your art is now limited by like business. And that is always the worst, because we started all this because we were just passionate.
Yeah.
Like I think that also separates a lot of artists nowadays too, is like, I gotta be honest, I am so irritated by like every single Instagram girl deciding like my new single, like it's just, and it's so prevalent, and I'm not trying to hate, it's just not everybody's a singer. It doesn't come from your heart. Like it's not, or a songwriter or a musician. And like, I think everybody deserves a chance to explore and to, to find their voice if that's what they want to do. But a lot of people are trying to do it because it's a quick buck right now.
Sucking the hair out of the room too.
Oh yeah. Like especially in platforms like Instagram, it's almost impossible for real businesses to grow, and new artists to find their fan base when there so much real estate is being taken up by like just not actual passion. It's clear, it's fluff, it's clout. And then that is just, it's like, so I really feel like even more so now than ever, I'm gravitating towards like people who have their hearts in it. You can hear it a little bit more, and good music is just coming back. Like I'm kind of grateful for the pandemic in a way, because I feel like a lot of shitty music is just not hitting the way that it was. Like things are getting real around us in real life. Like people are dying, people are getting sick. So the soundtrack to life cannot sound the same. It cannot sound like everybody on, whatever.
It cannot be a Tekashi 6ix9ine record.
No, it cannot. Like it just. And that's why I'm like, even him, the fact that he's still even trolling or doing whatever he's doing, I'm like, dude,
how are you even have a bullet in his face right now? Is
I
what
don't understand. I don't know, because
I don't wish him to have that. I just thought that was going to be the outcome. That's what everybody was saying was going to happen on the internet.
Yeah, yeah. So no space for that for sure. And so I'm gravitating towards some good music. And like, I know one of the songs we were supposed to talk about was one of the songs off my new album called Follow Me.
Yes.
And it's
perfect transition, P. Jesus Christ. Yes.
No, you're good. I just remembered that's exactly what I was talking about in the song, essentially. And I kind of tried to do like some irony, like where it's, follow me on IG or follow me on Instagram, but also like actually follow what I do. And just the idea that even though these are influencers and you are following people, nobody knows what they're doing. Like you can't just really blindly follow all these people on the internet who are seemingly living this perfect life that you actually don't know the truth about. And if you were to see, it's probably like a lot like yours,
it's probably curated. Yeah.
It really is curated. And like the whole song is like I start off by saying everybody's looking for value where the dollar's worth, and it's a fucking frenzy for the followers. But there's holes in your soul like a colander. You follow me, but don't you see I'm just a wanderer? And that's the whole idea. Like, I don't know what I'm doing, and neither does anybody who's acting like they should be telling you how to live your life, or like, that's just the truth. And so,
but vulnerability will always resonate beyond, Paris Hilton putting a fucking record out. Like, it is, which she did, and it was crazy. But vulnerability shows exactly what you're talking about, and that's that soul, that's that humanity, that's that thing that makes people feel like there's somebody else out there that notices me or
Right.
feels the way I do. That's that thing that can make people happy or sad. It can make you love them or hate you. It can make them turn into really creepy people towards you, or it can make them your best friend. I have experienced all of these through my musical career, because I've allowed myself to be honest and open about myself. If I only made music about what I think people needed to hear, then I'd have one record in me, because that would be it. Like, there's only so much I can sugarcoat, but once I get rid of there's a whole lot of salt to pour into wounds. There's a whole lot of gross stuff. There's also a whole lot of like undeveloped happiness and like other shit. Like, people ask me sometimes, well, why don't you just write a song about that then? And the issue with that is I can't particularly dial in on something. It has to be like an organic feeling for me. And organic feelings to me have some vagueness, because not one thing is always true happiness, or not one thing is always true sadness. So when I'm sitting down to write something, I'm merely expressing, almost from an outside point of view, how I feel about it. And so therefore it can be perceived differently by you. It can be perceived happiness or sadness over here, depending on how you're feeling or whatever, which has always been the way that I write. Because ultimately I think that's honestly, the way I feel.
Fine. Yeah. I noticed that about your songs too. One other thing that really inspires me about your writing is like, I mean, you kind of talked about it, but like just raw honesty. Like, I think I haven't quite mastered doing that yet, because I'm afraid of people being afraid of my actual thoughts. Like, I feel like I have some all my thoughts might not align, or all my honest opinions and ideas might not always align with like my brand of encouragement and positivity. And
sprinkle
sometimes I'm like, what'd you say?
Just sprinkle them with it. You know, it's okay. It's okay, because once again, if you're constantly like, you can't always be happy, just like I can't always be sad. We are talking to the juxtaposition here. Like,
yeah,
I can't always be grieves. You know, I can't be like sad fucking, tear-stained pillow grieves. I also have to be like, holy shit, I had a good day and I drank too much wine, and like here, like I still have to have them, because ultimately I express my sadness so that I can enjoy my happiness. Because
come on,
in my life,
that's quote of the night.
I am not sad. Like, I express my sadness this way. That's how I do it. If I don't have it, I'm fucked. If I take my career away right now, pull the plug, turn the lights off, that's fine. I still get to dump it into this.
Yeah. Wow. Literally best quote. I express my sadness so that I can experience my happiness. I want that tatted. That's great. Yeah.
But it's true, and the same thing can be said about happiness. If you're constantly expressing your happiness, you're making no room to cope with your sadness. And you should be allowed that.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers. What do you got? Coconut water? Healthy. Or is that?
This is regular out water.
At least it's not boxed wine.
Not boxed wine. That's later.
Like halfway, not even halfway.
I'm literally packing up my house right now, and the few things we have left in the fridge are like, I don't know, some walnuts and like 3 bottles of half drinking rosé. So I'm gonna have to knock one of those out tonight.
Yeet yee. Hey, well, packing sucks. Colin is currently fucking packing, and I promised myself I'd try to keep this to an hour, so we're super close to that, so I don't feel terribly bad that we went 7 minutes over. But Colin, let's give those fucking headphones away. I hope I win. I fucking hope I win. Sick of...
I hope you win too.
Yeah, I deserve these if I win though, I'm donating them to the Paris Alexa charity for her ears. Yeah.
I'm gonna start a real charity, I think.
You should. I
I'm
do.
looking at the comments. Someone said that the Paris Hilton song is actually fire. I disagree.
The plug is calling.
So it is the plug. In fact, it is. Oh, someone said they sound like a suffering chicken when they sing.
That's
okay,
right.
well,
It's go.
I trust that. Always good stuff. Last chance to enter.
You can no longer. Oh shit! It has ended.
Oh,
Come
snap.
on, Daddy needs a new pair of headphones. Fuck. All right. Well, Magic Bean Rainbow Bright. I am happy that you won the headphones. You're pregnant as shit, and you need those headphones right now. You can put them on your baby bump, and you can let your baby listen to some Paris Alexa while she's just rolling around in thine womb.
Yeah. Oh, perfect song for babies. I would say is Cross Pollinate. It is about babies, in fact.
Take notes. Magic Bean Rainbow Bright, congratulations. Paris, thank you so much. Normally, I always forget to ask people about their song, but you just got it. You just organically brought it in. It's perfect. Colin, if you'd like to drop a link to that so people can get a rush on that song, I'm going to add that song to we have a playlist that we do every week. So we're going to add that to that as well. But make sure you guys listen to that once, twice, 1,000 times. You can, put it on your computer, leave it on repeat, and then go on vacation if you want. Whatever you want to do with that song is completely fine. As long as you listen to it multiple times.
Yeah.
So go ahead and listen to Follow Me by Paris Alexa. Paris, it's been so good to catch up with you. It's been a long time since we had a conversation like this.
Yes.
And
Oh, good.
I can't,
like we're not that far.
No, we're not that far. You're close. Plus, you're moving back to the 6, so.
True.
But yes, I look forward to see everything in your future. I will be there as a fan always. When Paris is headlining her own shows, I'm waiting in line for that motherfucker, and I hope you guys are too.
You're VIP.
And
Holy.
and we're gonna be there, and we're gonna show out for people like her, because the music industry needs people like her, or else we're just gonna get a bunch of fucking idiots. And I appreciate your relationship with artistry, and I appreciate the romance and the thought that you bring to it. You can say it makes you old. I just say it makes you smart. And that lacks a lot. So I'm proud of you. And I have nothing to do with it. I'm just proud of you for being able to have that perspective on something that can easily skew people's perspective and manipulate them to think differently. So love to you.
I appreciate that so much. Thank you so much for having me. Thank
Absolutely.
you, everybody on Twitch.
Yes, Twitch will be back on Monday. This is Wired on Wednesday with, once again, Paris Alexa. We will see you on Monday for happy hour. I have no idea what we're making, but whatever. You motherfuckers will figure it out. We got this. See you Monday. Peace.